Hello and welcome to the Astrology Forecast. My name is Sage, here as your eye into the sky, letting you know what the cosmic events are for the week, why they matter, and how you can use this information in your everyday life. So let's start off this week with a little bit of reflection before we dive into this week's forecast. We just had a new moon in Cancer, which was a really special time to set some intentions, as new moons always are. But if you go back to last week's forecast, I did a whole debrief on the new moon, and it was a really cozy, connected, very loving energy. And I don't know if anyone else felt that way, but just taking a second to reflect, if you didn't set intentions, you're not late at all. Always exactly on time, right? Just on your time. It's not too late. Set some intentions. It's the perfect time to do so. We have a full moon in 2 weeks, and we might actually see some of these intentions coming into fruition if we're intentional right now. Now, this week is a kind of mellow week, but I have to say it's a really hot week. And it is hot. I'm not gonna lie. I obviously live in Florida, so it's always hot. But it is a hot week overall, meaning we are in the thick of summertime. I know, even if you're up in the north, it's warm, right? And coincidentally, or maybe not so much, right? Because everything happens to be aligned in some way. But we actually have the hottest planet in our solar system, Venus, making some shifts this week into a fire sign. And it's a very hot week anyway, being the middle of July. So just, the stars are aligning and the temperature is rising. And if you don't know where you have Leo in your birth chart, this is the time to pause this video and check that out. Like I said, we are in the thick of Cancer season, which is the middle of July. However, this week we have really only one major cosmic event, and it has to do with the sign of Leo. So not going to be that long of a forecast, but definitely a juicy one that you'll want to tune into, because every single person has Leo in your birth chart. So finding out where Venus, a really positive energy, is activating for you, it's worth it. And then to understand how, why, and what to do with this energy is going to make you even more in alignment with this energy. So without further ado, let's dive into this week's forecast and see what's going on for the sign of Leo. All right, so diving right into this week, if you didn't already guess, Venus is entering Leo. This is happening on Thursday, July 11th. Venus enters into Leo. Now, again, quick reflection, Venus is coming from her time in Cancer. Now, Venus in Cancer was super cuddly, very connected. Emotional relationships were what mattered during this time. We might have found that we were reconnecting with family. Maybe we were just getting more in touch with those that we live near or that we consider to be like home, people that, have to do with our personal life that we consider to like our inner circle. Venus in Cancer was definitely that stay home, cook a nice meal, and just really get in touch with those deeper connections. Now, as we move out of this energy, it's important to still bring the lessons, whatever came up for you. Maybe it was really good, which usually Venus is pretty positive. So hopefully some really good things happened. And again, looking at where Cancer is in your chart can give you even deeper reflection on this. Check out where this was going on for you. Again, Venus is the planet of love and beauty and connection and relationships, basically. I will also say wherever Venus shows up for you in your chart right now, right, wherever it's moving through, that will more than likely be an area that you will experience some maybe positive financial windfall, or you'll receive some blessings that are of value to you, especially considering that Venus is the planet of value. Now, Venus entering into Leo is a fun time. Venus will be in Leo from July 11th all the way until August 4th. Now, the last time Venus was in Leo was last summer, and this was actually when we experienced the Venus retrograde, which was pretty significant. Venus doesn't go retrograde all that often, and don't worry, Venus will not be going retrograde anytime soon. However, as Venus makes her way through Leo this upcoming, 3 weeks or so, 3, 4 weeks, we may more than likely find certain themes coming back up from what happened last summer. If you guys remember when Venus went retrograde in Leo, that was when the Barbie movie came out. Interestingly enough, I remember reflecting on this and saying, like, this seems oddly in sync with this whole Venus movement. And so happened that the Barbie movie people, I don't know, producers, actually had astrologers on set. Fun fact, totally digress, but pretty cool to see how astrology shows up. I think I might have shared that before, but now that we're experiencing Venus and Leo again this year, right? We're revisiting this energy. It's likely that those things that were going on for us last summer, specifically in this area of our chart, which always does correspond to an area of our life, this might be something that's coming back up, or we might just be seeing similar themes showing up in some way, shape, or form. Now, overall, Venus entering Leo is like basically bringing all of that emotional depth that we created with Venus in Cancer and bringing it into the spotlight. Right? Venus in Leo is main character energy. It's bold, it's fun, it's bright, right? Again, Leo is the sign ruled by the sun. So this is one of those energies that takes over, you can't miss it. Now, in relationships, we might have found that we got really close and connected with people that we feel most intimate with. And now that Venus enters Leo, we want to show them off. We want to feel proud of our partner. If you have Venus and Leo in your birth chart natally, this is a quality that you likely resonate with. I like being proud of my partner. It might be a degree of ego upon yourself, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with ego. Um, However, that is something to look out for while Venus is in Leo. As you know, sometimes our ego might get the best of us in relationships. Sometimes this can come off as looking like we're very self-absorbed in relationships, right? That kind of me energy, which isn't the highest vibrational expression of Leo. So if you find yourself or your loved ones falling into that trap, know that there is a higher expression of Venus being in Leo. And what is that? Right? So Venus being in Leo on the highest vibrational expression, we're talking about warmth and generosity and an abundance of compliments. This is like your hype man, right? This is when your partner is like your best cheerleader in your corner saying you can do it and is not stopping, right? It's fixed fire energy with Leo. So we have that persistence. We want to see this thing through to the end, whatever this connection, relationship, whatever this is. This might simply be you hyping yourself up, saying affirmations, right? Leo is the sign ruled by the sun. The sun in astrology is that I amness. It's all about me. And that's a good thing. It's healthy, right? It's time to fill your cup. So with Venus being in Leo, don't be afraid to pamper yourself. This is a very regal, luxurious energy. We might find that finding luxury with a partner is really enjoyable. This could look like a very fancy date night, going to the spa together. Maybe you're going out somewhere where a lot of eyes will be on you. Again, this could be socially or maybe just publicly in some sense. This might feel really good. And you might just find that naturally these things are happening where we're finding ourselves a little bit more out there with our partnerships, with our connections, our friendships. And again, even just bringing that confidence level up within ourselves. Venus can also represent self love and self value. With Cancer, we might have had to go a little deep. Maybe we had to explore some feelings that maybe not so comfortable to explore all the time. And that's to be expected. If we did the work and now Venus being in Leo shows up, we can take all that we learned and be like, you know what? I feel really good about myself and I am this, I am that, right? I am strong, confident, beautiful, whatever that is. I encourage you to start writing this down in the morning or in the evening, or start to have some affirmations that you listen to on repeat. Whatever that looks like for you, it could look a whole lot different for every single person. There's no right or wrong way to hype your own self up, right? So be your hype man, be your friends and your partner's hype man, woman, right? Be that person that cheers people on, as this is pure high vibrational Leo energy. Leo is warm, it's generous, it's loyal to an end, and it has that consistent fire, which means we can follow this, right? So setting that example with even just within your own partnership or even to yourself, what is that higher level example for yourself? What is that ultimate king queen energy? This is Venus being in Leo, the sign of the lion, king of the jungle, right? Be the queen, be the king, and understand what that energy means. We hear it tossed around a lot. Honestly, it can come off as a little corny sometimes or just saturated, overused. Really conceptualize and go deeper with the meaning of being your own queen or being a king. And that really is how we can operate at the highest level of Venus in Leo energy. Now, a couple of notes. When Venus does enter Leo, just for the first few days, so this is going to be Thursday and Friday of this week, it will be forming an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. We don't see this happen often, and it won't last very long because Venus is a very quick moving planet. but it is sort of likely, right? It's not too uncommon to experience feelings of paranoia, maybe having to like second guess interpersonal connections, relationships. We might feel overly obsessed with trying to figure something out in a relationship with a person that might just like be creating some power dynamic that we're trying to unravel and understand and unpack. This can be something we see showing up. Now, again, if it doesn't show up for you, all good. It is not a long lasting energy, but because this is a weekly forecast, I do want to take a note of pointing out that the first day and basically kind of like 2 to 3 days that Venus first enters into Leo, we are experiencing this kind of push pull dynamic with Pluto, which is an energy that's very powerful, very intense, and kind of lurks beneath the surface, right? It's the god of the underworld. And so it's not something super obvious. It's more so stuff that lurks under the surface. And so we might find that certain things that we haven't maybe expressed in our relationships with people start to come to the surface and maybe even transform or change some of the power dynamics and shift some of the energy between you and other people. Now, again, this won't last very long. So if this feels a little concerning, it's okay. It's not a long energy, but just be aware if this does happen that it is showing up in the stars. Venus being in Leo overall will form some really good relationships with other planets, namely Jupiter coming up towards the end of July. I'll talk about that more in another forecast, but that will be really positive. If you've got Gemini placements, that'll be something to look forward to. And of course, if you have Leo placements, Venus being in Leo is prime energy. We are thriving. The spotlight is on you. You're feeling good. You're glowing. And if you're a Leo rising, which I have to raise my hand because I'm a Leo rising, but I say this every single time Venus enters into a sign, that when it is your rising sign, so in this case, I'm talking to all my Leo risings, this is the time to really feel beautiful, essentially. Venus is the planet of beauty. When it moves through the sign of our rising, this also influences our physical appearance. So I always like to say, get behind the camera, make sure that you're feeling good in your skin, whether that be getting a makeover, updating your wardrobe, go shopping, maybe buy that more feminine, flirty dress because Venus, again, is a much more feminine energy. I heard an astrologer say that once, that anytime Venus goes through her first house, which is your rising sign, she buys a lot of dresses. And I actually noticed a similar theme within myself. So maybe it's because I heard it, who knows? But I have noticed that. And a lot of people have come back and reported to me that when Venus was in your first house, you were feeling much more Venusian, so to speak. So something to look forward to if you are a Leo rising with Venus moving through your first house. And again, Venus will be in Leo all the way until August 4th. So we basically have the rest of July to enjoy this energy. And that wraps us up. So, like I said, guys, not a very long, in depth forecast this week because we really only have this one major energetic cosmic shift. And it's a positive one. So, we can look forward to a pretty nice week. One where we can really look forward to the sparks flying, so to speak, as that temperature rises and Venus moves into a fire sign. So, if you got value from this video, please make sure that you hit the like button, that you've already subscribed. If you're interested in getting a reading, I have offered 50% off, but that's only in effect until Monday. So if you're listening to this past Monday, fortunately, that 50% off is no longer in effect after the 8th. However, if you are a Cancer sun sign, 50% off of solar return readings. If you're interested, the link is below. Gift certificates are available if you have a loved one that you would like to gift them a solar return reading for. Head to my Instagram for more information on what that exactly entails. And thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I wish you a beautiful week, and we'll see you all again next Sunday.